JBN, we keep you informed. 1 dead, 2 injured in Dole Harbour shooting. The St. Catherine police are conducting investigations into a shooting in Dole Harbour on Monday night, which left 1 person dead and 2 others injured. The deceased has been identified as 30-year-old Michael Walters, a construction worker of Church Pen in Old Harbour. Reports are that about 10 p.m. Walters and 2 persons were standing near a shop along Herring Lane in Church Pen when they were approached by a man who brandished a gun. The gunman fired several shots hitting Walters and the other 2 persons before escaping. The police were summoned and all 3 persons were taken to hospital where Walters was pronounced dead. The injured individuals remain admitted in stable condition. 4 shot, 3 fatally in 2 attacks in St. Andrew. 4 people were shot, 3 fatally, by gunmen in 2 separate incidents in sections of the St. Andrews Central Police Division on Monday. In the first incident, a man identified as Karen Keeple, a 33-year-old mechanic, was standing on Little Q Road in St. Andrew when he was shot and killed by unknown assailants. Reports are that about 5:05 p.m. residents heard the explosions and alerted the police. A team of officers arrived and Keeple was found with gunshot wounds. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. And while officers were gathering evidence on that crime scene, their colleagues were called to the scene of another incident in the Bay Farm area of the parish, where 2 men were shot dead by unknown assailants. The deceased in that incident were identified as Tyrese Lammy, otherwise called Tuggy, an 18-year-old unemployed resident of Walton Park Road, and a man known only as Shane. Reports are that about 8:20 p.m. on Monday, the 2 men were standing along Dahlia Avenue in the Bay Farm community when they were shot and killed by unknown assailants. A 51-year-old man of Walton Park Road was also shot and injured in the attack. The police have not yet established motives behind the attacks. Sound systems blaring beyond cut-off time since extensions. Less than a week after the House of Representatives approved a relaxation of regulations under the Noise Abatement Act to allow for events to take place until 4 a.m. on weekends during the festive season, some corporate area residents are hopping mad. Under the Noise Abatement Act, the cutoff time for events is midnight during the week and 2 a.m. on weekends. However, for the Christmas season, the law has been temporarily amended to allow persons 2 more hours to have public events such as parties, meetings, or church events. The temporary amendment will end on January 31, 2020. However, veteran broadcaster Faye Ellington, who experienced night noise going well into daylight on Sunday morning, is among those questioning whether enough thought went into the amendment. I live in the Barbican area, and Barbican has a particular set of problems in that when I'm in my home, I cannot tell what part of the Barbican square is coming from, she said. I had to make note of it. At 20 to 7, the thing was still going, and I think it went on till 8 or after. Ellington questioned the capacity of the police force, which is already stretched trying to tackle crime, to monitor night noise and ensure that promoters follow the regulations. I think the minister was talking crap, excuse my language, because he cannot control it, she said. Are we going to post the police at every place where somebody is likely to be playing music? It cannot work. He probably means well, but he didn't think it through properly. Business and media strategist Deacon Morrison had a similar experience this past weekend in St. Andrew. Morrison tweeted, "It's 6:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I am hearing a lot of shouting and bad words from a selector. I assume it's the same party I was hearing at 3:40 a.m. The new hours are 24/7, round the clock? Genuinely asking." One promoter, Jason Rickards, who hosted an event on Saturday in the Maxfield Avenue area, said he wished persons were more considerate of non-partying residents. "We are glad for the 4 a.m. extension. I only hope the promoters, whose events have been passed, abide by it and don't make it hard on us when it's our turn. I can safely say some garrison promoters have been working with the new lock-off time," he said. St. Andrews Central Commander Senior Superintendent Jacqueline Coombs, in whose division the Barbican disturbance occurred, could not be reached for comment. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang had warned that there would be repercussions when the Noise Abatement Act is reviewed if entertainment promoters breach a temporary ease in restrictions. This bill is a response to the call from the entertainment industry, the practitioners, community associates, and residents for there to be a review of the current Noise Abatement Act Chang said in Parliament last week. The minister said that if persons disturb their neighbors, the police should not hesitate to lock down their events. Knight cites mistake as security minister as he calls for management audit of JCF. Opposition Senator K.D. Knight has cited mistakes he made during his tenure as Minister of National Security to bolster his call for a fresh management audit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF. Knight made the call in the Senate last Friday as he took issue on how personnel and other resources were being deployed by the JCF. The man, widely known as the Sheriff, suggested that the JCF deploy more bikes in areas with high volumes of motor vehicle traffic, even as he related the fiasco that unfolded after the Minister of National Security, under his leadership, purchased 60 motorcycles for the JCF. He did not disclose the year. The police high command knows that them a come. When them come, no riders. Them not train nobody for ride them. They were up at Mobile Reserve for a long time, he recounted. Not long after, according to Knight, there were complaints from some people that boy the motorcycle them too small, them want Kawasaki. He said that as a result, the ministry purchased some of the high-powered bikes in Texas in the United States for the cops. You had to use magnifying glass or a telescope to find one of the Kawasaki them on the roads, Knight disclosed. They became pets for those to whom they were assigned, not to be overused in policing lest they be damaged. He said he's unaware of whether current National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has had a similar experience, but acknowledged, I made that mistake. The former National Security Minister suggested that a fresh management audit is required to lead culture change within the JCF and to address some of the issues around the deployment of resources. The last time we had a management audit, I think, was in the 1990s. I think the time is right for another one, he said. Government Senator Pernell Charles Jr., however, indicated that Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson is already leading a comprehensive overhaul of the JCF. That audit began last year, said Charles, who, like Knight, was speaking in the Senate during the debate on the extension of states of emergency across 7 police divisions. As an example of the JCF's deployment deficiencies, Knight pointed to what he said was a whole heap of motor cars being used for patrolling during peak hours and the seemingly aimless policemen and women on patrol duty. Motor cars can't assist if they see somebody robbing somebody and shoot at somebody. They can't even get out. Imagine something like that happen up at Tambredcom, he added. You see 5 standing in one place, 5 looking in the same direction, 5 seemingly aimless. Not one of them have a book in their hand or taking notes. So maybe those in command need to ensure there's better training for those deployed, Knight suggested. Bull Bay Exodus. Crime has sparked a plunge in the school population of Bull Bay infant and primary by almost 70%, as families have fled outbreaks of violence that have rocked the eastern Jamaican community. Enrollment has plummeted from more than 400 a couple years ago to 120 now, said Principal Justice Duncan, citing fear of violence as the primary cause. A year ago, we had a serious upsurge of violence, and as a result, we saw a number of persons leaving the community, and of course, taking their children with them, he said on Friday. But even though there's been a cessation in flare-ups, faith has not been restored in a decisive turnaround for Bull Bay, a sprawling web of communities, straddling the parishes of St. Andrew and St. Thomas, stretching from 7 miles to 11 miles. A bloody gang war in which at least 3 persons were killed between 9 miles and 11 miles in January triggered tensions and the temporary shutdown of a quarry operated by Caribbean Cement Company. Persons are coming from out of town and are coming to live in Bull Bay. It's not that bad now, as in it's not worse than anywhere else. But we do have times when we have flare-ups, said Duncan, adding that Grade 1 often sees an incremental increase in enrollment and attendance as the year progresses. The principal said that he and his staff have remained committed to the cause at the infant and primary school despite the dwindling numbers. Up to December 14, murders in St. Thomas have fallen by 13% year on year, from 30 to 26, but shootings have rocketed by 95%, from 19 to 37. The statistics paint a grim picture of the turmoil that has fractured the rural community. Tristian Daly, a parent with 3 children at the school, one of whom is in the infant department, has been living in 9 miles for 8 years. They are afraid, especially when gunshots are fired. Them ask me, Mommy, what is that? I have to be careful when I'm talking around them. Can't really make them know say people are dead and so forth, Daly explained. She said that although she has thought of packing up and leaving, she's fearful because everywhere there is violence, and make no sense me go run up and down and move them from this school to another school. Another parent who requested not to be named moved away from the community for fear of her and her children's lives. The children were adamant that they did not want to change schools when the family moved to a new community. It's just prayer and chance me take send them back up there, the parents said, adding that the administration is doing an excellent job. She recalled being home in January when she got a call to pick up her children from school immediately. When time I leave out, it's pure police and gunman in a gun battle in a broad daylight before 12. But I go up there, I see my sister coming down in a taxi and she stopped me and said she picked them up. It was really stressful, but thanks be to God, everything kind of calm now. Commander of the St. Thomas Police Division, Superintendent Marilyn Wilson Christie, said that even since the first quarter killings, there have been no serious incidents of violence. People live in the area is an ongoing thing because of conflicts, but there's nothing happening in the community that the police know of that will be causing people to migrate at this time, Wilson Christie said. She added, that's an area that we have round-the-clock police in the space because of what has taken place over the years. We try to hold the boundaries to see if we can keep those who are at war apart. Duncan, who has been principal there for the last 5 years, said the school also grapples with the reality that many of their students come from low-income families. It was formerly the Bull Bay All-Age School. We are trying our best to work with them. We have mostly farmers, bus drivers, and so forth. But we are working with them to ensure that the children learn, he said. A quarter of the school, or 30 students, are supported by the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH, a means-tested welfare scheme for poor families. But the school's charity often extends well beyond those numbers because of urgent need on the grounds. When it comes to lunchtime, we have all 80 students to feed. Some of them are coming to school without having breakfast, having only cheese tricks. But where we can, we assist them because they can't learn on a hungry belly. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.